Greetings and welcome to In Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. The Trinidad and Tobago Goat and Sheep Society is aware of rising food prices globally and specifically in Trinidad and Tobago. Now we are excited to have Ravi Renie and Kristy Renie, President and Director respectively of the Trinidad and Tobago Goat and Sheep Society, join us to speak to a project that will supply fresh chilled local lamb and goat meat directly to local consumers at an affordable price for this year's Christmas season and beyond. I want to welcome you both to the program, but I want to start off getting an overview of this project from you, please, Ravi. Describe this project and what are some of those things that we're looking at?
So we're looking at, we see the hard economic times that consumers are facing, and as farmers, we face that also. So we are looking to start this initiative where we can supply directly from farm, directly to the consumer, thus giving the consumer the lowest possible price to pay for it. So we are looking at supplying fresh lamb and goat at $35 a pound for lamb and $38 a pound for goat. That is just under 30% what you would get normally. So the consumer is seeing a lot of rewards by purchasing directly from the farm.
So how is, thank you so much, and I'll ask you please, Kristy, how is that working out? Is it that, because I think sometimes there's a mental thing where you get your food is in the supermarket or you get it by the market. So how does that change to be able to get to access those prices? What needs to be done a little differently?
So for us, what we're planning to do is to actually kind of cut off having that middleman person. And so the farmers, what they will do is directly take this meat and abattoir that we selected. We're trying to work along with the Ministry of Agriculture and actually use their sugarcane feed center abattoir. And at that center, they also have an area that's designated where they do sales. So the sales are gonna go, persons can go directly there and purchase the meat from that center. So it kind of cuts off or eliminates their need to go to the groceries where there's a markup or to the market where there's a markup on that.
So is it just one place you're talking about? So wherever you have someone rearing small ruminants, they take it to that place. I think it's Poco Road, right? Longdonville, Shagona side. But so wherever you are on the map in Trinidad and Tobago, well, specifically Trinidad, I think that's where the idea is to carry it?
Well, I would think that we are starting off there initially. And as the project builds and as the initiative builds, we would look at rolling out in other areas. So for now, we're trying to keep it very simple. And we're trying to get the meat as fresh as possible to the consumers. So on the day of slaughtering, the subsequent day, that meat is available for consumers. So you have something that is slaughtered under sanitary conditions. The animals are humanely slaughtered. There's a public health inspector present there. So you know that if there are any diseases that are detected, the animals will not be slaughtered and go into the food chain. And it's also a halal product. We also offer halal services. So a big percentage of our consumers require halal meat.
That is something that I was going to ask. And so how important is it that you have these measures put in place and whether or not the meat is going to be halal? So you answered that part. And so I thank you for that. But in terms of getting the Goat and Sheep Society to help CARICOM's initiative to reduce those food imports by 25% by 2025, and as local producers, what are some of those things you're saying, okay, well, these are the incremental steps that we need to take?
Well, as we would know, lamb and goat are big import items. For 2021, we would have imported over 11 million kgs of lamb into the country. And for goat, it's about 494,000 kgs. So there's a big demand for it. So the idea is that we can try to fill some of that gap and provide the meat directly from locally grown animals So we don't have to look for that foreign exchange to bring in the meat. And that can be supplied directly by our local farmers.
But looking to fill that gap, and I'll ask you this, please, Kristy, what are some of the things that local farmers would need in terms of the support to be able to help to fill that gap?
That's an excellent question. So planning for this project actually started quite some time ago. And one of the first things that we would have done is actually educated our farmers on good husbandry practices and good management practices. Now, education only goes to a certain extent. They also need support. So our farmers would need to have access to good feed supplies, to actual good health or veterinary services. So we've tried to now link all those things together and actually provide those help in those areas for our farmers so that they can now produce animals that are healthy and really ready for the markets.
All right, and I'll go back to that in just a bit, but I want to get a little more idea about the consumer and having the knowledge. Is it that will it be certain days? Will it be certain days that this is taking place in terms of at the sugarcane feed center? How will people get the information? Like, yes, today's a day I could go and get that meat fresh for these prices, $38 and $35. So how does that information get out, Ravi?
The Sugarcane Feed Center operates Monday to Friday between the hours of 8 to 4. You can contact the Goat and Sheep Society directly. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Our contact numbers are there to get further information and further details. And we're asking consumers to call in because, again, this is a pilot project. So we are just going to put a certain amount of meat available there. But if we get in a lot of calls, then we can push more animals into the food chain. Because we have a group of farmers. The society is not only one farmer or two farmers, they have 150 members. So we will be calling upon those members to supply sheep directly to the Sugarcane Feed Center.
So
and you could always check our Facebook pages, our Instagram pages. We're going to have flyers up so you'll know the specific dates. You'll know when the project starts, so it will give you a heads up on when to go and get your fresh meat.
No, you're talking this talk and it kind of blowing my mind. I didn't realize there were so many people into the animal husbandry in terms of like small ruminants. But I want to get an idea of the state of the sector when we return from this break. We are speaking with Ravi, Renie, the president, and Kristy Beharry, Renie, director of the Trinidad and Tobago Goat and Sheep Society. Stay with us. We return with more. Welcome back. We are looking at the state of small ruminant sector in Trinidad and Tobago. We're doing this with the president and director of the Trinidad and Tobago Goat and the Sheep Society, Ravi, Renie, and Kristy Beharry, Renie. So when we say small ruminants in Trinidad and Tobago, what are some of the things that we need to be looking at? You just gave us an idea. 150 farmers, you said, Ravi?
In the society, CSO records, that's 150 members. Within the membership, you have farmers, you have veterinarians, you have input suppliers, so it's not only farmers. The latest CSO stats will show that there are roughly about 250 small ruminant farmers. We expect that those figures are slightly understated because you have a lot of small farmers with 4 goats, 5 goats in their backyard, that type of thing. So that is the state in terms of where we are. In terms of numbers, we have about 17,000 goats on the island between Trinidad and Tobago and about 16,000 sheep. That is, again, CSO data that we're dealing with. And the Goat and Sheep Society has been working closely with CSO to try to tighten those figures because we believe that there are a lot more animals that are actually being reported there. So it's an ongoing process of getting the data correct.
And talking about that ongoing process, I think is interesting sometimes because we may not realize what it is we have and who it is we can go to, especially when we're just used to having to deal with that middle person. So in terms of like scaling up some of those things, added value, looking for dahi, looking for milk, looking for some of these things. I see her nodding her head like a preaching to the converted Kristy. What are some of those things that we can look forward to? How it is we finding people? Because sometimes you just see somebody at a pop-up shop or an Amdefco market, and then after you can't find them for love or money. So how do we build these links?
So, I mean, definitely those markets and like the NABDAFCO markets is a great place to interact with local producers. But I think now on social media, it's becoming more and more available for us to meet persons that are in the field. And just a simple thing like popping that into your search button and looking for local producers of milk or local producers of dahi, you'll find that there are a lot of people coming up. But also there are like market hubs. Like for example, there's this company here that we call Market Movers who really look towards promoting our local producers. So even going to those companies, you get that information and it can link you with local producers. If you're looking for stuff, if the consumers are looking for stuff, particularly with sheep and goat, they can feel free to reach out to us and we can always link them to those producers who might be making local soaps from goat milk or doing cheeses. So feel free to contact us and we'll be able to provide you with that sort of information.
Thank you so much. And they talk about the market movers, and it make me wonder if it have any family relations in that, Renie. But looking at immigrants though, because not all immigrants walk on 2 feet. They're immigrant ruminants. Now you were talking about the amount of goats that the survey or CSO would say are on the island in Trinidad and Tobago. Are they getting gaps in there? Are we getting small ruminants from different places? How do we deal with that? Because I can see somebody say, well, I get in my lamb and my goat cheap. But at the same time, what are some of the dangers of getting some meat from some of those undocumented animals? I'll ask you, thanks, Ravi.
So we within the last couple of days, there have been interception of smuggled animals in the country by the Ministry of Agriculture. And more we get in unconfirmed sighting of strange looking animals because the breeds that are endemic to Trinidad and Tobago, we know those breeds. So you're seeing some strange breeds popping up, some strange looking animals popping up, and those numbers are increasing. With those numbers increasing, it brings a big challenge for us. Both from a health perspective for the livestock and for humans. The spread of disease because there are certain diseases that are endemic to Trinidad that are not that are present on the mainland. So we have certain things like foot and mouth. Foot and mouth, we don't have foot and mouth reported in Trinidad right now, but there is foot and mouth disease present on the mainland. And as we would know, foot and mouth is a highly contagious viral disease that is zoonotic in nature. And when I say zoonotic, it can spread from animals to humans. So the persons handling those animals can contract the disease and then spread it to their family members, their friends, people slaughtering the animals. They too can contract the disease, take it back to home, the kids go back out to school, and there's a spread of the disease. And coming out of the pandemic, we know the dangers with highly contagious diseases and the effects that could have on the society, on the economy.
And you say that I might pause raising because I'm getting flashbacks of seeing images of mass cullings because you're not quite sure. What would that mean if something like that, an outbreak like that were to take place in Trinidad and Tobago, Kristy? What kind of numbers, what kind of things would we be looking at?
When we look at the sector in Trinidad and Tobago, it's still a very developing sector. I mean, we've been raising sheep and goat here for as long as I can remember. But when we look at the numbers, we're still growing. And all it takes is just one animal coming in with some disease that we're not accustomed to, or something that's contagious that can wipe out our entire sector. And it's really scary to think about. When we look at it, we look at the illegal trade of animals coming in from the mainland. And at the forefront, we always think of wildlife. And we don't look at the livestock aspect of it. And I think that's a dangerous perspective to take because it's just as important, if not more important, because we're looking at diseases coming into the food chain that can have negative impacts on the human population as well. And as I said before, it takes just one animal coming in with some strange pest, some strange disease, and mixing into our local population. And we'll be surprised at how fast that can decimate our animal population here.
No, you talk about unconfirmed reports, Ravi, and I want to ask, for someone who's not versed, somebody who's not a member of the society, and I'm not able to look at a goat or a sheep and say, that don't look like it from here. What are some of those checks that people can do as a member of a household or as someone who is trying to source goods for their supermarket or their business, their restaurant, to say, okay, well, this is a product that I am positive is safe, is sourced locally, and I can use it. I can use it without fear of saying, okay, well, I may be getting something that I'm not sure about.
The first thing I will tell you is buy a sheep and goat at Sugarcane Feed Center. Because you know, guaranteed sure those animals are local animals. The problem comes, like, is that when the animal is slaughtered, it's very difficult to tell because meat is meat. So when the animals are alive, it's a little easier to identify. If you are not sure about something, or you know it comes like if there's an illegal commodity and you're getting something sold very cheaply, that's a red flag. So we know a sheep might be valued at about $1,500, and if you get an animal for $800 or $600, that's an automatic red flag that, hey, something might be wrong. So if you have any concerns, again, the society is there. We're on the social media platforms. You can message us privately, or you can post your pictures, and then we can advise accordingly.
And is there anywhere to report in terms of like, because sometimes it may be foreign meat, sometimes it may be as a result of predial larceny. So in terms of, you report that privately there as well?
You can, but there's the predial larceny squad, there's Ministry of Agriculture. We have been working very closely with the ministry, with the minister, with the junior minister, trying to formulate a strategy to combat this, because the small ruminant sector right now is under attack. It's under attack by these smuggled animals coming in. So we are looking at the different mechanisms that we can put in place to slow this, to curb it, and to protect not only the farmers, but citizens, because as we said, you have to take into consideration those diseases that can spread from animals to humans. So you have the Ministry of Agriculture that you can report it to. You have the predial larceny squad. And again, you can reach out to us privately. If you know, sometimes people are fearful, reach out to us privately, and then we can guide you accordingly.
All right, so we want to thank you so much, Ravi Renie, President of the Trinidad and Tobago Goat and Sheep Society, as well as Kristy Beharry Renie, Director of the Society, looking at the business of animal husbandry, ensuring that you have safe meat at a very good price for this Christmas season and beyond. So we want to thank you so much on behalf of the TTT crew. I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth with me. Thank you so much for joining us.